Happy Thursday. This is Thursday, the 21st of October in 2020. And what a year 2020 has been. I want to just take a moment to tell you, especially those of you that have watched some of my other YouTube videos, about when I was driving to Tillamook every week to see my mom. When I started, she was 96, and this year in May, she turned 97. However, in September, she passed away. And it was exactly as I asked God for it to be. I was there. I was standing beside her, and I was able to be with her when she took her last breath. So, yes, I've been grieving. And that's what brings me to my subject today. I want to talk about not grief, but when people ask us how we are, and we say, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just fine. I'm fine. No problems. Christians are the worst at sharing their problems. I mean, we say we're not. We put ourselves on the prayer chain. We put other people on the prayer chain. We say, I'll pray for you, and, you know, all that good Christian stuff. But when it comes to people saying, how are you and how are you doing? We say, I'm fine. I'm just fine. But in reality, we might be grieving. We might be lonely. We might be frustrated. We might be isolated like we have been with this coronavirus. When we feel alone, and when we feel these things, that's the time it's especially important to reach out to other Christians. Sure, we don't want people to know, you know, they call it airing your dirty laundry in public, but we might not want people to know what's going on in our lives in detail, but we as Christians don't have to just be fine. We don't have to tell each other that we're just fine. Galatians 6:2 says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Not the law of Moses, but the law of Christ. The law of Christ is love. The law of Christ is love. And he wants us to bear each other's burdens. Well, how can he bear your burden? How can I bear your burden? How can you bear my burden if we're saying to each other, I'm fine, no problem. And when someone does that, at church especially, if every time you talk to somebody and they say they're fine, it's like, oh man, they're a super Christian. They don't have any problems. Man, they must spend all their time reading the Word and praying, and they don't have any problems, and they feel great, and they're happy all the time. And who's going to share their problems with that person? I'm not going to share my problems with that person because they're going to think I'm a terrible Christian. Because I got all these problems. I'm lonely. I'm scared. I'm grieving. But we need to share them. We need to be the best at loving each other. We need to be the best at being open and showing a little bit of our weaknesses and showing a little bit of our struggles and a little bit of our past and the things that aren't perfect, so that the other non-perfect Christians will feel comfortable talking to us. Instead of worrying about how we look, what we're wearing, and all that sort of thing, we need to worry more about those that are around us that are saying that they're fine, but they're probably struggling. They don't feel like they belong, or they don't feel like they can talk to us. When we are lonely, what do we want from our friends? We want company. When we're afraid, we want compassion, and we want to be told that everything's going to be all right. When we're grieving, We just want love and people to say, I get it. I get it. Because it's hard. Life is hard. If for some reason we're feeling like we're far away from God and we don't want to tell anybody, we need to realize that it's not God who has moved, it's us who have moved. We've moved away from God, and not be ashamed of that, because we've all done it at different times in our lives, and we've struggled with doubts and with prayers that we thought weren't answered exactly right, and if we don't have someone that we can actually open up to, which should be a Christian brother or sister, then that's all inside, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. We don't want anyone to think that we're super Christians. I don't want to go to church and have people think I have it all together, which one lady told me once. After we got to be friends, she said, when you first came to the church, I thought you had it all together, but now I know better. And that's right, because I don't have it all together. Far from it. I have struggles. And right now I'm grieving. And when someone asks me if I'm okay, instead of saying I'm fine, maybe I should say, I'm having a hard time. And maybe, well, not right now, they can't give me a hug, which is terrible, but they can, at least tell me that they're concerned for me and that they think of me. And the fact that they even asked in the first place means they thought of us, It all comes back to doing what we want others to do. So, Matthew 7:12. So whatever you wish that others would do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. So all we have to really do is think about, when I ask somebody, how are you doing? Do I mean it? And do I want them to really tell me, so that I can have compassion on them, so that I can love them, so that I can pray for them? Or do I want them just to say, I'm fine, and go on about their business? And if I don't really want them to answer me honestly, then I need to look inside myself. And so I need to say to myself, those people, when they're asking me, they're sincere too. They want to know how I'm doing. They know I've lost my mom. They know I'm grieving. They know that I've been busy and that trying to clean out the house and all that good stuff. And they sincerely want to know. And I shouldn't be so proud or so whatever that I have to say I'm fine and I can't tell them the truth. Christians need to be truthful with each other. We need to love each other. We need to bear each other's burdens. We need to do for each other what we expect that we would like to have done for us. And no one wants to be seen as the super Christian that no one can talk to. I know people like that now that I probably would not take my problems to, because, I don't know, they look like they don't have any. I want to be open. I want to be as open as I possibly can be. And sure, you're not going to go into hours and hours and hours of your problems with people, but you can at least tell the truth, how you're feeling. It's okay. We don't have to say, I'm fine, I'm just fine. And when we do that, we not only build a relationship that is stronger with the Christian brother or sister, we build a stronger relationship with God, and we make the devil so mad, because he doesn't want us to do that. He doesn't want us to share with each other. He wants us to wallow in our misery and think that we are the only ones that are suffering. We are the only ones that have these problems. No one else ever feels this way. Just us. In that way, he steals your joy. And if it goes on too long, he can steal your salvation. So share your problems. Don't say I'm fine. Tell your friends and your family and your Christian brothers and sisters how you really feel about things, how you're doing, how this coronavirus is affecting you. Just be real. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. Because truthfully, you are not the only one. You are not the only one who is going through these problems. Everyone is going through these. Everyone is, has, was, or will feel the way you are feeling right now. And we need to share them. We need to learn from them. And we need to stop just saying, I'm fine.